Okay, so as I said, I think it's amazing that it's helping people connect with other people from all over the world, but it's just not for me. But I am not in love with the idea of love being forced. I don't want to go and look for it. I want it to come to me.
It takes a lot for me to be comfortable with the person and to trust a person, so I cannot do it through a dating app. I've never been on one ever in my entire life, so no.
Like, I cannot talk to like 5 different people trying to pick out the one, like, who might be the best. So I just wait. I just sit and wait to vibe with someone enough and to give them all of my attention, because your time is worth a lot, and I do not want to invest it into something that might not just be, might not lead to anything. So yeah.
To each to its own, but I'm not on it. I don't want to be around it, and I would really hope that my kids are also not on it. I don't like it.
No, I don't think they're a waste of time. I mean, if you find someone you connect with, then it's great. I mean, this is such a nice way to like actually meet people, because we're so awkward about approaching. There's no culture of like going up to a person and be like, hey, you're cute, let's go out on a date here. So it's nice only. I think it's fun.
Firstly, I don't have a partner, but any which ways, I would honestly prefer either FaceTime video call or in-person conversations. Text and calls is not my scene at all.
Face-to-face conversations, but I'm in a long-distance relationship. My partner, Manuel, he is in Madrid and I'm in India, so it's not easy. So I'm really glad and thankful to the technology, as much as one part of me is not really pro-technology, but one side of me is happy that technology exists, because at least we can communicate with each other, whether it's text or calls or FaceTime.
In-person conversations all the way, I can. But then also like long distance, if you're doing that, obviously you have to communicate virtually. So even then, I think just like video calling is much better. Like I would just like to see that person's expressions while I'm talking to them.
Of course, I love in-person conversations, but I think I also prefer phone calls.
I'm an in-person conversations kind of a person, always. I love talking to people when I meet them, but even on text, I'm more of a call person, like a FaceTime person. I love video calling every now and then, and that is how I like to be in touch with my partner.
Yeah, I don't think they need to, and they shouldn't, because I think, see, I got married quite early in life. I mean, according to me, it was early, and I think at that time, you weren't really sure about yourself. You ended up trying to always do things with your partner, and you got so dependent on your partner that you never really got to explore beyond that. And as romantically beautiful that can be, it can also be a hindrance of actually being in love with yourself and exploring your needs as a person. So that is something I discovered quite late. In fact, I had a friend of mine who had told me this, Suzanne Khan. She had told me, Pragya, marriage is like a temple. You have 4 pillars holding that temple up, and if the pillars are too close, it will fall apart. If it's too far away, it will fall apart. So you have to position yourself equally and at the distance where you can flourish together.
Of course not. It's really not necessary to do everything together. You actually should do things separately. You should have your own lives as well. Yes, they can be a bigger part of your life, but having your own life separately is also very, very important.
I don't think, according to me, couples have to do everything together, but they do need to have same values and same likes, I feel, so they can enjoy a lot of things together.
You need to give each other space, and you need to let the other person evolve in the relationship. You can definitely help each other grow, but you don't have to do everything together.
Of course, I think they don't show things that are normal in relationships, such as just having a disagreement, not being on the same page at all times.
Hmm.
I think they do. Also, I think that the what I said earlier, no, about like things having meaning without them lasting forever. I think that's an idea that was never shown. Like I hadn't seen it in pop culture that much. Like much later, I realized this. So I think these things like can have set certain standards that are unreachable for a lot of normal people.
I mean, yeah, when I was young, to be honest, when I saw Dar, you think that it's a great obsession and you love it and you would want to have it. But as you keep growing more mature and you realize that the more freedom in a relationship, the more love there is in a relationship, the more trust there is in a relationship.
Well, yes, really, yes, it does. And I feel now, though, people have started like changing it up a bit. People have started to show more of the ups and downs. It's not just rainbows and unicorns, and more of, you know, the in-depth relationships, which I really like, because that is something you want to see and grow up and know that all relationships are not just, again, unicorns and rainbows. There's a lot of emotion and a lot of communication and maturity that is needed for a relationship to go ahead.
Not really. I mean, there is love that exists, and it only will happen to you if you find your fit, like your partner. And I think the on-screen romances, they're just like a little more like lovey-dovey. Like in reality, you need to be more practical, and you need to like kind of tackle with the situations a little differently. But I feel if you keep comparing yourself to what you see on social media or in like these movies, then you might get disheartened.
Yeah, I think obviously any learning of consent has assisted marginalized communities in relationships to better vocalize what they're feeling. And I cannot begin to emphasize how important it is to learn this. And the way that a lot of my generation has also learned about these things is through methods of art and creating like that one of my friends said, infographics on Instagram about consent that we used to see, about what abuse is. And I have learned so many things through this. So I think a lot of, and the emphasis on therapy, of course, and just, of course, any conversation around consent assists a relationship to be more loving.
I think for me personally, it's been a very important part of any relationship on what is okay and what is not okay. And I think that's a conversation maybe that has started in India later, but I think it's a very important one. It's a very healthy one. I think it's important that couples do speak to each other about their needs, and they should be respected and not judged upon depending on, you know, what their needs are in a relationship. And it might not suit you, and, you know, it might not work out for the two of you, but it should definitely not be judged or disrespected or looked down upon. These conversations are extremely healthy to have in any relationship, whether it's friendship also. You know, you need to have your boundaries in place. And
I think it's much more healthier. I like the fact that people are becoming more, I think, I'm not sure if open-minded and broad-minded is the right word, but what I mean is more educated to the level that you need to understand that consent is the main and most important part in any relationship, whatever kind of relationship you have. So
I feel they are helping people understand each other better, which I really, really like to see. Like the awareness spread around it is really helping people communicate better, especially when it comes to sexualities. I feel people are like, you know, openly being themselves, and they're finding people who love them for them, and it's just such a happy thing to see on the internet. So yeah, I think it's helping shape like a new generation of relationships with more understanding and more raw love. So yeah.